everyone, welcome in. A little bit more BMW playoffs, top 50, Caves Valley. What's going on, Andy?
Yeah, nice enough course. Still the playoffs. As I mentioned a couple weeks ago, I've been getting a little deeper into DFS, dipping my toes in more. And boy, that is what these and the signature events miss. Like not having a cut sweat for your DFS.
Yeah.
Kind of takes the starch out of that. Because it's like, oh, everybody's lineup goes. And basically I shouldn't even check this until Sunday. And then, I mean, one of my best lineups had Spawn in it. So, like, I was trying to figure out the math, and you realize you can't really do that. It was a swing. Not as much for me as for you. That was a good outright bet. Sometimes it just doesn't get home. Congrats on the process. We'll try again this week. A lot of big names. I don't want to dwell too much on Tommy's faltering. It feels like there's signal now. It's not just, hey, it's hard to win a golf tournament. Like, you can't have leads that big and piss it away on a kind of an easy course at times, guys. Like, it wasn't playing that tough. So, sorry, Tommy lad. Congrats to dipshit who couldn't do it in the right playoff. If he could have got the playoff at the Masters done instead, that would have made me much more happy.
It would have made you, you'd have been a lot more happy for sure. Yeah.
Especially since I needed Spawn, you needed Spawn. I am overconfident now, 2 for 2 on making a small profit on DFS, giving it back. I mean, giving it right back and outright betting. I didn't have any luck for.
That's what we do.
I mean, since Potgeeter, 150 to 1 pays the bills for a while, but it doesn't pay the bills forever. So kind of need some shit to hit. Although I did. God, who was that youngster we bet a few weeks back? Had like a 10 to 1 top 20, and it
Jackson Coyven.
I'm not sure if it was Coyven. It was someone else. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I forget, but I remember the bet. But yeah,
it
wasn't Coyven.
No, that one helped out too. But yeah, it would be nice to hit something this week. I might have to bet some matchups as well. I will be in a legal betting state this week for part of this tournament. So
it's like the worst betting state now. Isn't that funny how it's shifted?
It kind of is, but at the same time, if you have all the apps, like, it's not like I need to go sign up for anything. I'm not gonna go wait at the counter and fill out stuff to get like used to have to do that. And I'm speaking of Vegas, but used to have to like go to the counter and fill out paperwork to get the apps for some of these sports books, which is just maddening because people wouldn't know that. And they'd show up to like March Madness. I'm like, I'll bet for my phone. And then you look, the line's like 30 people long and they're all up there basically filling out a credit app. Like, yeah, you're not betting from your phone. You're walking up to the window. You needed to do that 2 days ago. But
and you missed the first wave of games because that's
I mean, people do that at the window. Like they get in line 10 minutes before the first wave of games. Like, you're not making a bet on these. You better check out the noon slate, buddy. Yeah, that is the nice part that does start at 9 a.m. out there for March Madness, which is early. So I'm excited to watch some golf this weekend. Some preseason football. It did watch more of this than I thought I would, I guess. It's a good course. I think we're going to have another good course this week. I don't really remember 21. It's not like ringing a bell. I guess.
Yeah, I remember the playoff took forever. It was like, I remember Cantley had like the most Cantley, like, I just remember he's just a plain white polo in the like pants that are the same color as your shirt. It's like, who dresses this guy? It took forever. I remember the 18th hole very well because I think they went 6 deep on the playoffs. They picked it apart. They absolutely picked it apart.
Yeah, it was 27 under was the playoff number.
To get to 27 or not win the golf tournament is pretty wild for Bryson to be on the wrong side of that one. I think Sanjay was 2 shots back, 25 under, not sniffing anything there. This is a tough scene as well. So Ron and I went a little bit deeper yesterday on our Monday preview show, just kind of talking through some of the changes that have happened here. Caves Valley, since the last time we were here, I don't think any course that's hosting a PGA Tour event really wants to get into the high 20s or 30s. They definitely don't want that for a FedEx Cup playoff stop. So it's kind of in this spot where it could be in the BMW rotation. I was bemoaning a little bit yesterday. I really wish this used to be the Western Open. It's a Midwestern staple. And then it was like Conway Farms up in Lake Forest for a number of years. Then I went to Medina and we had Olympia Fields. Like it should be a Chicago event. But whatever. We'll get there eventually if, Medina can show well here next year at the President's Cup. But for now, Caves.
Yeah, 27 under is a tough scene. Like I remember people talking about Philly cricket like it was going to be really tough, and then you looked at it and like I don't think it is. It stood up more than I thought it would. I had to go check. That winner was.
It only played tough on Thursday because it was soft.
Yeah, Sepp finished 16 under. I mean that's respectable, but the same thing. Yeah, you don't want it. You don't want it like that. So like I said, you said. You mentioned a lot of the changes yesterday. Basically, it's just like, hey, the greens are closer to the hazards. The rough is taller. The fairways got hemmed in a little. Like it is stuff that's going to make it tougher, but you can only make a course, and we talked about this a little off the air, a course where they're tickling the high 20s under par. You can only make a course like that so much tougher. Like it's still going to be probably a 20 under winner because guys are just too long. And some of the guys who have the speed and the distance are pretty accurate for guys with that kind of clubhead speed. And they're going to be able to just outdrive this thing. And, where the spots where you and I would be hitting, hybrids, just easy approach shots, even on some of these longer holes. And that was the big thing too. The greens and regulation number last time we were here.
Oh boy.
Was like 10% higher, like a good amount higher than tour average. And they said, with the installation under the greens, they're going to be able to make them a little firmer, a little faster. That'll help, I guess, with that. But even if it's just tour average or slightly above, that's the other part. It is, I joked about this. It's, 48 of the best golfers on tour and Campbell. Like it's a lot of really good golfers here. They're going to hit greens at a higher clip because you don't have a bunch of guys who Monday qualified or are just playing here on sponsors exemptions, dragging that number down. It's all the good golfers, all the best ball strikers. I love Campbell, gotta just give him a hard time. I think I made him the thumbnail of one of these, perhaps. I'm gonna have to remember that. The face, he's got some. I like golfers who have funny facial expressions for thumbnails. So like Spieth gets heavy into the rotation as well. But even if it just plays slightly above average greens and reg, it's easy, fast, and that was a complaint last time here too. Was not that it was too fast or too slow, but players complained about the unevenness of the speeds on the greens. And that's a problem for guys who aren't great at putting. If they're assuming a certain speed and then from hole to hole to hole, it varies quite a bit. That's just going to give you fits. And if they are installing this sub-air stuff and they're going to try to get things to a certain stimp, you're going to have a lot more continuity, I think, on speeds. And guys who are good bentgrass putters are just going to slay here again. So I don't know. It seems like a pretty easy formula. Bombers who aren't too squirrely, really good ball strikers, scorers. Like you could probably make a model that is just driving distance and birdie or better rate, and you're gonna
on par fours.
Yeah,
right? We lost the two par fives. Yeah.
And that is the other thing, for driving distance. It's playing as like a 7,600 yard par 70. It's a long ways.
It's a long ways, but we've seen this earlier this season. We've seen Houston. We saw Craig Ranch. Like those are longer golf courses. But if there's no penalty off the tee in terms of either hazards or missed fairway penalty, it just doesn't matter, especially for this field, right? And those fields weren't getting the top 50 in the FedEx. They had some decent strength at the top, but they weren't getting, everyone here like we're going to have this week. So, these are, again, really small sample. We're talking 4 rounds a handful of years ago, but this is where we were at in terms of how it played. You could see greens and reg about 7% above average. From the rough, 12% above average. I mean, that's what we're talking about here, right? That just tells you there's just really no penalty for me to keep the ball in play off the tee, Brian Campbell style, because I could just kind of pound it down there and figure it out with no problem. And then even if you happen to land in the fairway bunker, that also was not a problem. 15.5% above tour average, finding the green and reg from, basically you were finding the green and reg from a fairway bunker at the same rate you do at an average tour stop. That's not a great setup in terms of challenging you professional golfers. So like you said, they stretched it out. They took away a par 5 on each side. So now it's a par 70, but again, relative to par, it's going to play a little bit harder in terms of scoring because you're just not going to have those easy par 5s. So naturally the score is not going to be in the high 20s anymore. Doesn't mean it's still not going to be easy relative to par. So the par 4 scoring is definitely a piece of it this week too. And then, we saw, to Andy's point, heavy driver usage, heavy driving distance average, good drive percentage climbing up to 90%. That's pretty darn high. So again, you're going to have to pour in the birdies. What was interesting too, and you're going to go down here and look at the scorecard and how guys got it done. We typically lean so heavily week in and week out on approach.
Look at the fucking putting.
Yeah, look at all these guys that just kind of middling an approach. Like Bryson, lost strokes barely, but he was negative. This is a great live leaderboard, by the way. DeChambeau, Sergio, DJ bleeding strokes on approach for the week. Rahm lost shots on approach for the week. He's top 10. Abe Answer, HV3.
Oh my God.
Kokrak. Schwartzel.
Kevin Na, Swafford, Crooks. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Live represent.
Yeah. But you can see that, there are guys in here that are getting it done on approach. It's fine. But it didn't matter if you could just gain through distance off the tee and then putt. Right. So it's just kind of the recipe that I think both of us are leaning on here based off of some of the early plays that we've made this week. So again, small sample, but interesting to note too. And again, most of the guys up top around the green didn't matter either for the most part, right? When you're going to hit greens at such a high clip, you're really kind of just, when you're having to scramble for par, again, that takes you kind of out of play in terms of really contending and, where you're giving shots back to the field because you're not making birdie on those holes. So yeah, I thought it was a fascinating leaderboard and kind of interesting how they got there. But to your point, this is where guys were separating. They were making everything. Cantley, this is an insane, putting, 15 strokes, basically 14 and a half strokes putting. It's just bonkers to get it done.
Yeah, it's crazy what that it takes, because that's not just he sunk 2 40-footers that week. He was making everything. I mean, you have to make everything to get that sort of number.
Well, yeah, but especially when everyone's in the 20s.
3.5 a round, It's just consistent.
It's crazy. I mean, again, in a spot where people are making birdies at a huge clip, for you to gain through putting relative to the field, who seems to be having no struggles on the greens, pretty wild to see. So guys who didn't, Carlos Ortiz, Kiz, shout out to Kiz, Homa, Kirk, they won't be here this week.
No. Kirk was close. Kirk's caddy. Kirk's caddy will be.
Yes, very interesting news there too, for sure. It looks like Scotty Scheffler will be without his caddy, Ted Scott, on the bag, taking the week off again. Still some of the family, whatever's going on health wise, someone in Ted Scott's family that caused him to miss Sunday. He will not be making a trip to Maryland for this week. So he's appeased for Ted Scott and his people. Hopefully everyone's okay, but he will not be on the bag. So does that impact how you're approaching it this week? I went without Scotty. I went without Rory again because I'm a coward, but it felt pretty good. I'll tell you, for most of Sunday to not worry about what Scotty was doing, and just worry about JJ Spawn. Again, you can make the case that Scotty's edge can be mitigated a little bit when you have a spot where we get into the 20s. We thought that at Craig Ranch for the Byron Nelson, and then he just went out and boat raced everybody. So
that's the thing. If you lose to Scotty, he might just do that. It might just be he's 22 under, and everyone's 15 through 16, somewhere in there.
Just legit one of the best putters on tour this year for a very large sample now. So our case to be made that it was just like, hey, Scotty could be field average. That hasn't been happening very often.
Yeah.
So.
No, and I think too, the other time Ted Scott had to take a round off, he wasn't great that day. Obviously, he was pretty decent on Sunday. Could have been better. It's a weird small sample size problem, but at the same time, I think having somebody just pop in and help out is way mid tournament is way different than here's a professional caddy who is caddying for essentially a top 50 golfer all year. Yeah. And you're prepping and walking your practice rounds with him. You're doing everything all week with him. I think it mitigates a little more than, hey, some rando is on the bag on Sunday for Scotty.
Yeah,
not a full rando, but
that's a good call out.
But like
the variable in the first time that it happened was he was just coming off of being arrested the day before.
That's the other thing too. That was a weird spot. And then obviously, last week, I don't know much about that guy, but I saw a clip of him. I don't know that was like the creme de la creme of caddies that he got last week. No offense to that guy. Yeah, it was
part of the team.
It was like someone who could carry a bag. I don't think he was getting estimates on distances and stuff from him. Whereas, what's his name? Mick? Mike Cromie? I don't want to say the last name. That's Chris Kirk's caddy. Chris Kirk was 51st in the FedEx standings. Almost made it this week, so should be a decent name. Should help. I don't think I'm going to hold it too much against Scotty. I did the same last week. Pretty smart of me to bet against without Scotty, but the mistake I made was picking all the wrong guys, and they didn't do so hot. So I got half the equation there. I just couldn't get good rounds strung together by a couple of those. It's like close, but never two good rounds in a row. So not much love for me there. I did have some good fades. I faded Goddard in DFS. Basically didn't use him. That worked out well. I didn't love his skill set last week. I can't remember. There was one guy that I wasn't super keen on Rose, and I don't know if I didn't really fade him, but I didn't use him enough, and that hurt me quite a bit in DFS. It's like I didn't see that Sunday coming. I mean, some guys just go nuclear, and sometimes you just can't miss, and that's what happened with Rose on Sunday. He was so far back. It's amazing what he did. Like, I don't think it's being talked enough. What an amazing win that was for him. Kudos to that guy.
He rinsed it on 9 back-to-back days. I thought he was done after he rinsed it on 9 for the second time. And then, he's 2-3 shots back at the top. And, he just never is going to, at this stage of his career, he's just not going to have the statistical profile that pops for us often because there's not consistency. But if we probably dug deep on him, in like the spike week situation, looking at some of those data points, I imagine we see some highlights of Rose maybe higher than we would think relative to his baseline, because his baseline's, I think we would model anything this week. Again, we're not going to get a lot of super pro Rose stuff, but just can show up any style of course. Distance, his distance is still competitive, and the putter sometimes just goes white hot. So yeah, he's a tricky handicap for sure. Let's look at a couple things real quick. Want to remind folks, we have a way for you to get access for Betsperts Golf for just a real small little fee, 3 months. Again, I know we're winding down, but again, we're going to continue to cover all of the swing season events here through the swing season with our friends over at Chalkboard. This is an article you can see on the site if you're watching on YouTube. You can check that out. If not, you listen to the podcast. We appreciate it. Go ahead and check this out too. If you're looking to get a subscription, you just take advantage of the free shows and the things that we do. That is cool. But also if you want to kind of dig around in the rabbit hole yourself, poke around, this is a great way to do it. Again, pretty easy directions. Sign up with Chalkboard using promo code BSG. Deposit and play at least $10. They will first match your deposit up to $100. Then you'll get an email within about 48 hours of how to access the site. You can take advantage. Again, our subscriptions, it's everything. So if you have a 3-month or a week sub or an annual subscription, it doesn't matter. You get access to everything. We just have that one subscription. So I also have a cool deal on the football side right now through our friends over at 4 for 4. Really cool deal. Look for that over on our Twitter. Just $1 basically get access to one of our pro plans at 4for4. If you play fantasy, DFS, anything like that, you can get the full. It's usually $60. You get it for $1 if you subscribe for a year on the golf site.
I can attest for 4for4 as well. I use it for my I hate fantasy football, but I'm still in 3 leagues because I just can't get out of them. Yeah. And I'm lazy. I hate doing waivers. I usually do it for like 1 or 2 weeks and then don't for the rest of the year. I still almost always make the playoffs because I use 4for4's rankings and I always have a good draft. It's like the half-assing fantasy and still making the playoffs. Like I don't do trades. I don't do waiver wires. I just draft well enough where as long as I don't have catastrophic injuries, I'm still just, oh, you're like the 4th best team still. So I can attest they have pretty good rankings, and it's especially if your buddies are using like CBS rankings or ESPN stuff in their league, you're going to outdraft them. So I can attest for 4for4 stuff. And then with the chalkboard thing too, I'll talk to the powers that be on that 3-month subscription. It's a code that you use. I think you can save it. Like if you don't want to bet swing season stuff, I'll talk to Luis about the expiration dates on those codes, but I'm pretty sure we can make it where, hey, do you want to save this for the Sony and just use it in the spring? That's fine too. So check out Chalkboard, get yourself 3 months free, 3 months essentially for $10 to check it out at least. If you want to do a checkout during the swing season, we're still grinding. I'm betting all those tournaments.
Yep, without a doubt. So check that out. If you have any questions on the 4for4 side or on the Chalkboard side, just reach out to us directly. Our Twitter handles are on the page here. If you're watching on YouTube or at Betsperts Golf on Twitter as well, you can DM us. We'll help you out with that for sure. All right. You built a model. Let's take a look at it. Find it. What, did you build a simple one like you said?
Oh yeah. This was Monday morning. Barely have done research. I read, skimmed Ron's preview and decided, I'd looked at the course a little last week too. So Caves Valley by Andy Molitor right there. I don't know if
I just enjoy, tour picks getting in here a little bit with, his naming convention. I like, going a little bit off the board.
Vicenzi's always just like Vicenzi, BMW, Vicenzi, whatever. he doesn't pick up the naming like we do. But yeah, Caves
Valley. Vicenzi still building models, grinding, the tour, the enemy tour at this point. So he's still out here in these PGA Tour streets.
He's having fun. And he's still,
he's living his best life. I could not be more happy for him.
He might not be writing those SI articles that some of you may have read, but I guarantee he's still betting PGA every week.
1,000%. Yeah. Hey, he's got the week off, like he's got time to be grinding a little bit of Caves Valley. So,
look at that, right. Curtis Kitayama. Clap your hands, everybody.
He also is number 2 in my model.
I'm Kurt Kitayama, and I'm here to hit some greens. So It was something I looked at last week. And truthfully, this was like, hey, anyone who's used the rabbit hole knows if you build a model, that stuff just sits in there until you clear it. Like if you pull driving accuracy in for, the last year, and then the next week you go to build another model, it's still just sitting there. So I kept some of the stuff from last week.
Okay.
I wanted a little bit of accuracy. If they're truly making it a little more difficult, I left it in there, but I put distance in. So essentially I just built total driving myself, but for a little differently. Fairways, greens, and regulation. I want guys who bomb it, find the fairway, hit the green. It's a very simple game, guys. I probably have too much approach in here based on the research we've done now, but it's still
I think I'd always rather have a decent amount of approach, to be honest.
Even if it's less than a regular tour stop, it's still approach. It still matters quite a bit. You still got to score, and then birdies are better. A lot of these are just a rolling, not even 12 months. I think a lot of this is just 2025.
Okay.
Season 2025. So I like to set it for 12 months and then click on 2025 so it doesn't pull in, some of the weird stuff. If a guy in here who played some of the swing season stuff, I don't know if I like to use that, especially once we get to the playoffs. I'm not sure that like Sanderson Farms is a good comp for this course. Actually, Sanderson Farms is kind of long and has some water. I don't know. Maybe those fairways are kind of wide. I'd
Yeah.
say I'd say off the tee is a little easier there, but still Bombers. And yeah, it's Scheffler. You're probably doing it wrong. You're getting too granular. Scheffler's not number one. Although Rory being as low as he is kind of interesting.
I smell some bias in this model.
I don't know.
Well,
I mean, I put driving distance high.
Yeah.
His accuracy is quite a bit lower, and then
approach is not.
Approach is dragging him down a little, but he's still. I'm not building models just to make Rory look bad as much as I'd like to.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Interesting.
Right, so
some of the guys I thought might be a little higher. Sometimes it's just like, oh, this is an elite field. Doesn't matter if this guy's long off the tee. Everybody here is.
Sure.
There's so many guys that are above average on driving distance, and it's hard for you to compete if you're not perfect in all the other categories.
Yeah, here are your distance leaders and where they are in the in your model here. With Goddard up at top, he's 23rd in your model. Rory 15th, Kitayama 2. So that bodes well for him. There's some other metrics that are kicking out for him. Pendrith 16, Ludwig 24, Cam Young further down than I would have expected.
He's another one too, where his approach is bringing him down.
And you're grabbing a longer sample. Some of the more recent stuff is better for Cam Young.
Yeah, and I think I do want to look at maybe that's something we can do. If you go over to the rolling form, I mean, it's shown here in the playoffs, like form has mattered. Guys who are playing well continue to play well. So I think looking at rolling form might be a good one for this week too. And I bet Cam Young, he's 30 at Bookmaker. Like now that the monkey's off its back, feels a little Xander-ish where, oh, this guy can win now. And he has the skill set. He's always had the skill set. It's just been a little bit of a bugaboo. Now, he's passed that monkey paw off to Tommy, who's kind of always had it too, but now he's just that guy. So Scotty, obviously Rory, Justin Rose looking good. And, even though the bigger sample looks a little bad, same thing for Cameron Young. His form's just too good right now to not play him. He looked so amazing that week. Wyndham, Kitayama, he's going to be up there. He won the 3M. That was only 3-4 weeks ago now. So some of these guys that have really good form that I believe in from a ball striking and scoring standpoint, I'm going to have to play them. And right now we did match on these. Spoiler alert for people who haven't seen Noonan's picks, but I've played Cam Young and Kitayama, and that's it so far. Probably not all I'm going to play, but it's just been a struggle because it's a small field.
Yeah, the other two that I bet on are also faring well in the shorter term form here in the rolling averages. That is Matthew Fitzpatrick and Ludwig Åberg. Those are my 4 without Scotty, without Rory, because the prices were fine. And I think this sets up pretty well for Rory. You obviously can have discussions on how dialed is he after skipping last week. And I just built a new house in London, and I think he's been out there a little bit. I don't know how much golf he's been playing. Who knows? I don't know. Like, there's a lot of tea leaf reading there that I'm not really going to get into. I'd just rather just cross him off and not have to worry about him and go from there. Because I obviously think that any of these guys can win this golf tournament straight up, as we saw last week with Rose. I mean, I felt good about pulling Scotty out of there and Fleetwood out of there, and almost worked. So I like Ludwig playing, better, and you can see that here. Right, it's not been great since the Masters, but recently it's been a little bit better. He's got 2 top 10s in his last 3. Distance is great. He's a really, really good long iron player. And we saw this here. Go back to this key stats here. You look at the long irons. You're pushing 40% approaches from 200 plus, and that was before they stretched it out. So it's probably going to be, even more, long approaches this year. That bodes really well for Ludwig if you look at proximity from 200 plus, which I think is pretty good for him too. And he's a great bent grass putter too. I didn't realize how strong he is. If you look in our floor ceiling or get a sense of spike putting weeks, he has the highest rate of gaining 2 or more shots on bent and the highest rate of 3 or more on bent in the last couple of years. So Ludwig likes these bent grass greens. So like him quite a bit. He'd be the one that I'd kind of swim at the top and just say, hey, I'll take on Scotty and Rory. But now we're, the early numbers I got are kind of in line with where his with Scotty, with Rory market is. So I feel good about the Monday morning click there.
Yeah, I looked at him as well. It's tough because of a bit of an uneven year, I guess, but the skill set fits, and that's what's annoying about Bear right now. Bear. He didn't. And I don't know if I want to have the same card as you. Basically, if
good
I
vibes.
had him, but good vibes. But I don't know. Played good last week.
Good.
Played good in Northern Ireland. Where were we for? Was it Northern Ireland? The Open?
We're in Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland.
Yeah, both those links events, he played pretty well. So the form's back. Obviously, he's a distance guy. He can gain ball striking, putting's good enough. I don't know. I'm close on him. It might just be it just doesn't feel like he wins. It feels like a good top 10, top 5 bet.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, the trending stuff is looking better.
Yeah.
Even when the struggles this year, it's been a lot of around the green stuff. And again, not something that I'm factoring in much at all. Yeah, it feels like he can get hot with the putter. And I like some of the splits we saw. Yeah, FedEx, Scottish, competitive at the Open, decent because it's been kind of a lull of a summer coming out of the Masters there. So
yeah,
not great.
And this is the thing too. If you're looking for top 20 bets, if you're doing DFS, it's such a small field. You're gonna have to find somebody who is like, let's say you're looking for 3 skills. I'm looking for a bomber who's, good mid irons, also putts really well. There's, like we said, it's an elite field. There's going to be a bunch of guys who do that. You can't use them all because it's too expensive. And like Levels Wealth is saying in the chat here, you got to choose some wild cards. I'm seriously going to set my optimizer to make some like $45,000 lineups. I'm going to make some really weird ones for the big field stuff because there's, you're going to feel really good about a lineup and it's going to be duplicated 100 times. Like, that's the problem. You're going to have to make some really weird ones. So that's what I'm saying. Like, as you go down the board and you're looking at some of these guys, you're going to have to use some golfers in DFS that only have one of those 3 skills. Like, hey, this guy's a bomber and he is wild. He's going to find the rough. And you got to dig in on those guys. Has he had some weeks where he's putted really well? Or is it always just shitty and then sometimes a little less shitty, sometimes a little more shitty? Like, does he have spike putting weeks? Does he have that in him? Is it in his bag ever to randomly top 10 this event from the bottom of the board? I don't know. Look at the bottom of the board because I think that's the toughest part this week. If you're looking for some longer shots in matchups, top 40, you're not betting top 40s this week. A bigger number on a top 20 or some of the guys to mix into your DFS lineups. Like, you got to find someone who, like you said, they have one skill that really translates well here and one skill that they don't, but it shows up sometimes. A spike
looks like Ryan Fox could be that guy.
Yeah. I know it. 6,200, and I think he has some spike putting in him.
This is some of the stuff that surprised me because I looked at, this is par 4, both these par 4 metrics, par 4 average, par 4 birdie or better. I filtered through long and very long par 4s. And like we know, Kitayama's, to your point, a shit putter, but has shown a little bit of a spiked stealing ability. He's kind of carrying it over. He played really well again last week. And he needed to. His back was against the wall to get into this field.
Well, and I mean, 12 and a half bent grass greens. That's Blaine, man. That's Minnesota.
Yeah.
He did it. He's done that. He's putted well on these kind of greens.
I'm surprised that he's first over a fairly large sample, 12 months long and very long golf courses, par 4 birdie or better rate, Kitayama, Harry Hall, and his average is good too. It's not just like
I think some of that comes from, hey, if you're long and you have a shorter shot into some of these easy fours, or not easy fours, but longer fours where other guys are hitting long irons and you're hitting a mid iron or better.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if you're bad at putting if you have a bunch of 5-footers. It's kind of mitigates the problem there. It's the Happy Gilmore joke, the original Happy Gilmore, where it's like, I should just try to hit it in the hole in one shot every time. Like, yeah, if you're a bad putter, don't leave yourself long putts.
I mean, got her up. This makes, this is probably the last guy off my list this week.
So
this sets up way better for him than last week, I think. These are good numbers for him for sure. Got a lot to prove. Sammy Stevens, this isn't bad, I guess you would say, if you're kind of looking for, to your point, knowing everyone's getting 6 of 6 through with 49 guys in the field. Vegas, I think, is another good look. Played really well last week. Hits in the mile. These numbers are pretty solid, birdie wise and par 4 scoring wise. People love betting Daniel Berger. I don't. If last week wasn't great, doesn't feel like this week would be great, but this could be some names. Jacob Bridgman, maybe Dietrich.
In the One and Done article last week, I mentioned Harry Hall as someone I would, I said if you're chasing and you got to get weird and you're looking for middle or lower names that nobody's going to be using, I said Harry Hall is someone I'm probably looking at more for next week. So I was kind of miffed when he went out and shot a 64. I did he's a good first round player. I mean, he
loves first round.
He does
first round morning tee times.
And then he went and shot a 72 in round 2. Like he ended up finishing, I think, T22nd. But I mean, it's going to happen when you have a 64 on the card. I still do believe this week is a better week for him, and he's definitely someone I'm looking at.
Yep. Yeah, this is an interesting way to go through it and kind of pick, especially for DFS purposes. You're going to need to find some of those leverage spots from an ownership standpoint, knowing that, all the people you're playing against are getting 6 of 6 through as well. So, leveraging ownership this week, I think would be really important in that. So it sounds like betting wise, we're going to have a similar card, at least. I'm again, Ludwig, Cam Young, Fitz, Kitayama, all without Scotty and Rory. Andy with me there on Kitayama and Cam Young, maybe nudging him with Ludwig as well. But interesting week. I'm interested to see how it plays differently. But I mean, we like to beat up on the playoffs. I don't know. We love golf. It's going to suck in a couple months, and it's like, man, I really miss some of the top guys and seeing these tournaments. And,
I like the swing season. Yeah. I do like just the
swing season's so much better now that with the current format, I think too. Like it forces, it's going to be amazing because it sounds like everyone that's going to be on the U.S. Ryder Cup team is being forced to play the Pro Tour. So those guys are going to be pretty pissed when Scotty shows up to the Pro Tour to get dialed in for age, and they're like, "Hey, man, this is a great opportunity for me to get points. Like you don't need to be here." And they're going to be,
Meredith is just wine drunk on 18 as Scotty wins the Pro Tour by like 11 strokes. It's not a tough course. Like I am worried about a couple of those guys. Who's the second best American right now? Do you think?
This was probably Bryson or Xander.
I do forget about the live. I was gonna say Xander's in a weird spot.
He is. He's been okay.
It's not like Xander hasn't been bad, but he just doesn't top 5 anymore, which is hard to win when you don't do that. So it might be JJ Spawn. That's crazy. He's hot. I mean, Pro Tour is a month away, and the Ryder Cup's another 5-6 weeks away. So many slip twixt the cup and the lip, but yeah, it might be JJ Spawn, man.
Playing great golf doesn't matter.
Just because we don't really know how Bryson's playing. Sure, it's hard to compare him against other golfers when he's playing.
He's without a doubt the most important American for that event, though.
Muni's in Chicago, yeah. Oh God, that's it's harder to travel during football season because I have so much content stuff. But I've always wanted to go to Pro Tour because it's just like anyone who's been to Napa, that's a fun place.
It's beautiful.
Once you get past your 20s where you just like, let's go to New Orleans, let's go to Daytona Beach, and you just want to get, after you get binge drinking out of your system, Napa's awesome.
Yeah, I used to have to go to Napa for work in a previous life a couple of times a year, and it was a good place to be.
I know everybody's bucket list is like, I want to go to the Masters and I want to go to this one. It's like, I want to go to the Procore. I want to go to the Barracuda. I want to go to the ones that have like awesome areas around them. Like, with all due respect to rural Georgia, I think, outside of the golf course where you're spending, half of your day is also part of the trip.
The Century. You ever watched? I watched the Century.
Yes,
No one's there.
I know it too.
Yeah,
like, obviously both Hawaiian events would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I mean, Pebble's still Pebble, and it's any of the California
1000%.
events. Any of the California events count because it's just like, oh, I'm in Palm Springs. Oh, I'm in Monterey. Like,
La Jolla.
Speaking of, we got the finally is come.
Ooh, okay.
Shout out San Francisco. I got my U.S. Amateur hat on. The Olympic Club is underway this week.
Yeah,
that's an elite area. That's a good course.
Yeah, just a little south of Napa where we're talking about. So, yeah, I love getting as much of that in this week as possible too, because these are the next guys, right? This is the Jackson Coivants and the Ben James of the world that are about to be prominent names for us over the next 5 to 20 years if they can hold up and do their thing. So, all right, any more BMW thoughts?
Yeah, you should be able to watch some of this. So today, if you're not,
I think so today on the Golf Channel.
If you're not familiar how the U.S. Amateur works, it's extensive. So we have golf today because it's match play until the finals, I think, or is it match play all the way? I don't know. Some of these, the mid-am.
I think it's match play all the way.
I think it is match play all the way. So you have round of 64 today, and it's on Peacock tonight for a little bit. It's also on Golf Channel. You can catch some on Peacock. I think there's quarterfinal matches on Peacock Friday night. So you should be able to watch some U.S. Amateur match play.
And it's West Coast time. So it's, that's PM.
Yeah, that's why it's on at 6 p.m. Central for me is, no, it should be fun. And Olympics a very nice course. So if you're a hard-o and you want to watch some of that, you should be able to catch some of it on the cock.
Yep. Get that cock sub for sure. All right. I think that does it for the BMW. Again, YouTube subscribe, podcast subscribe. Let us know if you have questions about the 4for4 deal. If you have questions about the chalkboard deal, happy to help you out.
Yeah. And if you have any ideas for the rabbit hole, if you play with it and you use it,
that's it.
We keep making small tweaks, and 95% of them are based off somebody asked if we can do this. Like we are very open to, that would make it better. You're right. Let's do that. And then a few weeks later, we're usually able to implement it. It's not instant because dev time is expensive and we don't have unlimited dev time, but we did make some small changes where, if you don't play DFS, the salaries are annoying. They're in the way. It just takes up a column. You can get rid of those. If you want to see tee times, you can now toggle those on and off. It's just the little things like that help you sort out your players a little better. So check it out. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any ideas, hit us up in the Discord, on Twitter.
We got a new one coming around the green data coming, Andy, this week, I think. Frequency of, because we right now have your ability to look at scrambling from the rough, scrambling from short grass. But there's going to be certain from an event level standpoint of like how frequently is this happening? What percentage of the shots are from rough? What percentage of shots are from short grass? We're going to have that here very shortly as well. So,
which is great because we talk about that when we run into that, like, hey, here's a guy who has bad around the green numbers because of the tournaments he's played. It's been a lot of collection areas and he's trashed from that. And here we have a spot where it's nice rough. It's almost a oxymoron, but sometimes rough around the green is a lot nicer for these guys who want to try to find a nice little spin to catch an around the green shot and leave them with an easy putt. So I love that for sure. Check it out. Yep. See you guys. Peace out until Tour Finals. Tour Championship.